Hey everyone, and welcome back to the 9 Frames podcast. It is episode 45, and it is Friday, November 3rd, 2023. I'm Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
And folks, it is over. We officially have a World Series champion. Unless you're living under a rock, you know it is the Texas Rangers who won their first World Series championship in their 63rd year of existence.
What an unbelievable run for a team that definitely did not think that they were going to be here. Maybe they did, but from a national media standpoint, I don't think many people had the Rangers winning the World Series in 2023, but they're here. They did it, and congratulations.
Such a heavily criticized team. They were criticized for the age of their starting pitching, the health of their starting pitching. You know, if that bullpen was going to be able to maintain, if Corey Seager was going to come back from his injury and be the same guy, which he was debatably better than he's ever been. So, I mean, yeah, the Texas Rangers, congratulations. We're going to get into breaking down how they did that, how they finished off their fairy tale ending. But before we do get into the end of the Fall Classic, we are going to touch on some news, because we actually have baseball news now. The league is getting pretty active now that the series is over, and it starts off with some sad news, but it was a long career for all-time great DH Nelson Cruz. He is announcing his retirement from baseball. He had 2,053 hits, 464 home runs, 1,325 RBI. He's a 4-time Silver Slugger and a 7-time All-Star. Really an all-time great.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, but also fortunately with the Rangers winning, his infamous play of the ball flying over his head from David Freese back in 2011 when they didn't get a ring that year. It feels like the pressure could be taken off a little bit more now, so he could retire in peace because they just won and the curse is over. So I mean,
yeah, definitely disappointing for how that World Series ended back in the day, but his career as a whole, especially as an individual, was a phenomenal one. Obviously ineligible for the Hall of Fame because of his steroid scandal. You know.
Yeah, we'll see if that ever changes how the voters vote, because it's absolutely ridiculous that Barry Bonds isn't in the Hall of Fame. I don't give a shit what you say. He is the best player, one of the best players to ever play the game. Yeah, whether he was on steroids or not, he had 4 MVPs before the steroids. Let's get the guy in the Hall of Fame.
Definitely some differing opinions on that one, because I mean, baseball is just the cleanest Hall of Fame in the world, which, I mean, you got to give them respect for that.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get into, and you can't make a mistake.
Yeah, but it was an era. It was a time period. Not for Nelson Cruz. He was a little bit later. He was a part of that biogenic whole scandal back in the day with A-Rod.
Yeah, a lot of guys getting caught for that, and they're in that era.
But it's nice to see him go out the way he wanted to. He had a fantastic career.
Fantastic career, Hall of Fame caliber player,
one of the
regardless
best,
if he makes it or not.
One of the best designated hitters of all time.
Fully agree. Moving it on over to another California team, Max Muncy and the Dodgers agreed to a 2-year, $24 million extension. Not bad for the type of player he is. That'll keep him on the team through 2025. We talked about him before the season ended, man. Very versatile. He plays everywhere, and you don't know where he'll be on a given day.
Yeah, his average was a little bit down this year, but the Dodgers love what they get out of the pop from his bat. And the Dodgers are doing what they do, and they take advantage of the first 5 days. You're allowed to only re-sign players. Free agency doesn't start until a couple days later, but they're getting it done with Muncy, getting him extended for 2 years. I think it's a great move. He's been there for a while. He's a good clubhouse guy. He always hits right in the heart of the order. So nice to see them take care of their guy before it even there's a chance that he could go.
Dodgers make it a priority to bring their guy back, and they do. We will see him in Dodgers threads through 2025.
Barring a trade.
Yeah, very true.
If
Muncy's been here for a while.
Yeah.
They did originally acquire him via trade from Oakland, so it's not impossible. And another one with San Diego, man. We're going to talk about San Diego a lot in this intro.
In this offseason in general, probably.
Very, very true. Seth Lugo declines his player option to test free agency. He went 8-7 this year with a 3.57. 26 games started. He started every game that he played for them. So full-time starter, 146 in the third innings pitched. I mean, pretty solid guy this year. Pretty solid get.
Oh, that's a great year for Seth Lugo, who was transitioning back to us to do it. People don't understand how hard it is to go from a reliever he was a reliever for a good period of time after the Mets changed him from a starter.
I mean, I was looking at it the year before he pitched for the Mets. 62 games he came in out of the pen. I mean, it's a completely different season.
He probably doubled his innings this year.
Completely different year.
So it's very impressive that he pitched to a 3.5, and I think that's definitely why he opted out, because
Makes
he knows
perfect
he's
sense.
going to get more money than what he was already getting because of the year he just had.
Yeah, he's currently getting paid that opener money, but now he could get actual starter money because clearly he's proven that he's worth that spot.
Which is nice to see for a guy like Lugo. He was awesome. I was a big fan of Lugo.
Me as well. The last thing we will touch on with the San Diego players testing free agency. Not sure if you saw the Josh Hader free agent video that he's sending out to teams. Narrated by Trevor Hoffman, so all-time closer there. And
For
it's
the
a
Padres.
really cool highlight video of him, a high sell, and he's going to be getting a bag.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know if anybody saw. I know me and you talked about it. The San Diego Padres just took out a $50 million loan to pay some expenses, including player payroll.
Yeah.
So with all of these guys off the books right now, you don't feel great about them coming back.
They tried to overspend to keep up with the other teams that were overspending. Now they got a lot of guys locked down for a long term. They got Tatis and Bogarts, who are at least 10 more years. Then they got Machado. I forgot how long. I think his was
A
over
while,
10 years
yeah,
as well,
it
or
was a
something
while.
close to that. They're most likely going to lose Soto. So you'd think that maybe they should just try to trade him, because otherwise they're losing him for nothing.
I think it's a smart move to get rid of Soto, especially after it comes out that you're taking loans. I mean,
Darvish.
You can't.
Why did they pay Darvish a 6? Why did they give Darvish a 6-year deal at 36 or 37?
He's already banged up
It's
in
absurd.
year one of that deal. He's banged up, so it's a little scary for
As
sure.
soon as I saw that deal, I was like, what the hell are they thinking with that, man? I love Darvish as much as the next guy, but you don't want to be paying a guy that much money at 42 years old when he's already shown he's starting to crap out with the injuries a little bit.
Padres are definitely interesting in that way that they have such a core, but when they have guys coming off the books like this, you don't really think they're going to come back because of how little money they have.
Yeah, and how just bleak the situation appears on paper now. Because everybody thought they were going to be world beaters last year, and they weren't for most of the year until the very end when they got hot. They were kind of just a below-average team.
Yeah, one of those
with
big,
a very high payroll.
one of those big payroll teams that just didn't perform to the full extent that they could.
Yep. In the same boat as the Mets and the Yankees.
And our last contract business of this episode will be Jorge Soler, man. Speaking of great DHs, he'll also opt out of his contract with Miami. We were saying for months that this was going to happen. He's worth way more than he's getting paid.
Yeah, there ain't no way that man is worth $11 million.
Nah, closer to 20 with the way that the market works.
He'll get
these
20
days.
plus for sure.
Yeah. He slashed 250, 341, and 512, so solid numbers. 853 OPS above league average, obviously pretty handily. 36 homers and 75 RBI. Great guy to get for just about any team that could use a bat.
Yeah, as of right now, I'll go out on a limb and I'll say he is the best available designated hitter on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't foresee that changing, man. I mean, he's had a 48 home run season, and now he's had, what, 30? You said 38? 36?
So, yeah, this is his top year since that year.
So
I think he's worth it for sure. A guy's been all over the league for a while now. He's going to get his bag.
I would say probably 32 out of 32 teams would pay a designated hitter $20 million to hit 250 with 36 bombs.
Any team that's competitive will probably be making a bid on him just because of how popular it is to have a guy like him. He could also play the outfield pretty solid out there, got a cannon.
Yeah,
so,
he's also shown with the Braves in 21 that he's a good postseason hitter.
Very true.
He
World
was the
Series
World
MVP?
Series. Yes, he was. So I mean, he's got the experience. He's shown that he's just a good player, man.
If I'm a GM, I pay him.
He's gonna get paid from somebody, and I think it was a great decision for him to opt out.
And folks, it is award season. We are going to be covering that extensively in the coming weeks, but the first awards have been given out here. The MLB awards Aaron Judge the 2023 Roberto Clemente Award. Just basically the good guy award. Think Walter Payton of the NFL. Great philanthropy, giving back to his community. He's just a great guy.
I've seen a lot of people in the baseball business just say that this is one of the highest awards, and it arguably is the award that players want the most because it shows just they're just a good person, just both on and off the field. They contribute, and they just, I mean, it's such a a good award to receive from.
Yeah, I mean, all the peers in his industry just said that he is essentially the nicest guy in the league. You really can't
Giving
go
back.
wrong with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is a great guy. And he dealt with a lot of adversity this year with his foot injury, so he was still able to give back throughout all that time, throughout his rehabs, and, I mean, great for him, for sure.
Yeah, just stacking up the awards. Another award on the trophy case for Aaron Judge.
We'll touch on these real quick. They are the Player Association Comeback Player of the Year awards. The MLB will give out the official ones. What did you say?
November 28th, the MLB officially
Okay.
announces it, but the players have already voted on.
Like you said with the Clemente Award, I think the players probably feel really honored to get a Player Association Comeback Player of the Year award. All of their peers voting on it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and they are now out. For the National League, it is former MVP Cody Bellinger, which is super impressive year for him, man. He really bounced back in a big way.
Yeah, everyone was kind of shocked when he signed a 1-year deal with the Cubs. They were like, what's going on here? What does he think he's going to do there for a year? But he bet on himself, and boy, he's going to get paid also. That's another guy. I mean, if you're considering him a DH option, he's up there with Soler, but he plays Gold Glove defense as well, so you can't really consider him a DH.
Yeah, he's one of those versatile guys too. Plays center field, can play first base, hasn't in a while. I mean,
he hasn't in a while,
but he can. So I mean, yeah, he's going to get his money as well. I've actually heard he's very interested in returning to the Cubs, so don't be surprised if you hear talks in that capacity soon.
I actually wouldn't be surprised because it seemed like a good fit. I mean, the guy hit over 300 after being looking completely lost for a couple years. I think he was in the 170s last year. Completely turned it around this year, and I mean, why wouldn't you go back, you know?
Very true.
Show
And
the
then
faith.
Lastly, the American League Award winner is relief pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, Liam Hendriks, which all the respect to him, man. He was diagnosed with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in December of 2022, man. And he pitched this season. He got his last treatment. I don't know if many people know this. He got his last treatment for that cancer this year on opening day for the White Sox.
Yeah, it was very impressive to see him even come back out there that year to just be like a guest for the team, let alone pitch in major league games. It's pretty crazy.
An absolute warrior, and I really wouldn't be surprised if both of these guys get the awards from the MLB when they announce it officially.
Yeah,
they're definitely my top two candidates, and I think they both deserve it fully. Respect to both of them. Cody Bellinger bouncing back from a rough year after MVP, and Liam Hendriks obviously fighting against cancer, winning, and coming back to pitch in the major leagues.
If those do hold on the 28th when the MLB announces it, that means Chicago would sweep the Comeback Player of the Year awards.
Very true. So, I mean, they are on the come-up, and clearly the Cubs just missed the playoffs by a game, so they're feeling pretty good right now if they can bring them back. Now, folks, we get into the conclusion to the World Series. And here is the conclusion to the World Series, folks. Game 5 Wednesday night, as Arizona looked to fight another day and Texas looked to lock it up for their first in franchise history.
Yeah, we mentioned on Wednesday that when we came to you guys on Friday, we would have a chance to wrap up the World Series instead of setting up a Game 6 and 7. And here we are.
Yeah, Game 1 rematch of Nate Eovaldi and Zach Gallen. Both pitchers really solid at keeping runs off the board in this one.
Definitely, and I mean, that's what both of these teams needed from, I guess you'd call them their aces. It's kind of hard to say Eovaldi's the ace with how good Montgomery's been. I think they're both
Texas got a bit
co-aces.
of a rotating door. Yeah, I know they give a lot of respect to Scherzer as well, even though he hasn't pitched to that extent for the postseason run, but I mean, yeah, Nate Eovaldi stepping up as their Game 1 and Game 5 starter here, and he was good.
You could make the same argument for Gallen and Kelly, too. They're 1A and 1B because they've both been dragging the D-backs this year. So
very true.
If the D-backs can bolster that rotation a little bit, they might be a little problem for
It's
a while.
interesting to say this when you look at the running score for the game, but this was all Arizona early. They kept getting in good spots to score, but Eovaldi just kept escaping.
Yeah.
I mean, the first inning, Carroll was on third base with 1 out, and a back-to-back groundouts will end the inning.
I'm pretty sure, Nate pitched 5 innings in this game? 6.
Mm-hmm.
5 of the 6 innings, he had traffic on the bases, and he was throwing a lot of stressful pitches.
Basically, only the second. I think the second and the 6th inning were solid for him, and every other inning, the guy was dripping sweat.
Bending, not breaking, though. That's the most important part.
Yeah, I mean, in the 3rd inning, It was second and third with one out, and he gets a K of Christian Walker and a ground out of Tommy Pham to end that one. Then another runner in scoring position. Longo gets a 2-out double in the fourth. So, I mean, he's sweating on that one. Another second and third with 2 outs in the fifth. He gets a ground out there. I mean, he just works out of every hard spot, all the pressure on him, and he gets out of it.
Yeah, great pitching clutch from Nathan Eovaldi to escape these high-pressure situations in a potential clincher, man. You got to love that if you're a Rangers fan, especially knowing the man's coming back.
He's the type of guy that's worth paying, because if you make it into the postseason, he just kicks it into a different gear. He goes 6 innings here, 4 hits, 5 walks.
He's making it known, though. I know he walked a little more than
9 base runners in 6 innings, and not one comes in against him.
Yeah,
no runs.
His last 2 starts against the D-backs were a little more rough. In terms of, I mean, his first start he gave up 5 runs, and in this one there was a lot of traffic, but he didn't give up the runs. I think that's a credit to the D-backs rotation or lineup more than anything. But I mean, shout out to Nate for getting out of it.
Tough that they weren't able to break through on him, because we have talked about how big it is to score first in this World Series and the postseason as a whole. But
probably the biggest deal for these two teams. I don't think Texas has lost if they scored first.
No, and that'll cap Nasty Nate's postseason at 5-0 with a 2.95 ERA. Another really impressive by the October legend.
Yeah, and he's certainly building himself up to be one of the greatest postseason pitchers of all time already. And I mean, he's still got years left if they can keep going back to keep padding those stats, and you'd love to see stuff like that, man.
Very true. And up until this point, man, other side of the coin, Texas had only had 1 base runner in 6 frames off of Zach Gallen. That came in a 2-out walk by Nate Lowe in the 5th. So at this point, he was still working with a no-hitter into the 7th inning. Super impressive by Gallen when they need him.
Gallen was as good as he possibly could be for as long as he could be against a team like that.
I mean, if the offense was able to break through for him, man.
Just give him one to change the momentum.
Like we said, how big it is to score the first run. You're doing that when your guy's throwing perfect game no-hitter stuff. I mean, you like that.
Yeah, they needed to give him one to just try to change the momentum a little bit at all, get the home fans going after losing 2 road games or 2 home games in a row to start the World Series. And they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, they end up sticking with Gallen for the 7th. As we said, he still had a no-hitter. He gives up a leadoff single to Corey Seager, who's having a phenomenal series in postseason. An Evan Carter double, and then a Mitch Garver sharp hit singles gets the first run of the game in the late. We're in the 7th inning, and the first run of the game comes in 1-0 Texas. Kevin Ginkel comes in, and he's able to work out of that. A lot of pressure there, and he keeps it 1-0. So Arizona still has a shot here.
Yeah, Ginkel. Well, first of all, I want to say Garver. I was talking about him, how he's the second most RBI on the team, behind postseason MVP Garcia probably. And he stepped up again, breaks the ice. He's the first one through. And then secondly, I think Kevin Ginkel is going to have a massive role in the Diamondbacks bullpen for years to come.
Clearly their 8th inning guy here, and the way that Sewald's been pitching in the last couple games, it wouldn't be the craziest thing to give him some 9th inning looks.
Ginkel, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's their closer.
I mean, I know Sewald thrives in the late inning situations as well, and you traded for him, so they'll probably
I'm not sure if Paul's a free agent or not is the thing, though.
Oh, that's true.
He might not be coming back.
I'm not sure of that either, so we'll actually have to touch on that if he is during our off-season episodes.
Yeah, it might just end up being Ginkel's job.
It would be interesting if he was on the market. And unfortunately for Arizona, a combo of their bats unable to get through and Paul Sewald with another rough showing are just too much to overcome. A Jonah Heim 2 RBI single up the middle gets past Alec Thomas in center field. Man, this was a weird play. I think his focus was just off at that point, and it gets Heim all the way to third. Not that it really matters. 3-0 Texas after that point, and Semien scores Heim with a 2-out, 2-run homer, his second of the series and the postseason, to make it 5-0 Texas.
Yeah, they alleviate the pressure a little bit for the bottom of the 9th. You definitely would rather be up 5-0 compared to 1-0, but
huge. In
the end, the 4 runs in the top of the 9th really did not mean anything.
I mean, they end up not even having to look at their closer, though, so that definitely helps.
They didn't have to. You want to know why? Because Josh Spores came out, and the guy was unhittable for the postseason. He has a .75 for the entire postseason.
Very true.
You don't even need Leclerc.
No, so impressive. Chapman and Spores did combine for 3 shutout innings. Spores went 2 1/3 with 4 strikeouts in this one, and he gets the first save of the postseason. 2 1/3 for a save in this game. Obviously came in a pressure situation, got out of there. And that clinches the first ever World Series championship for the Texas Rangers, man.
And Josh Sborz will always be the pitcher that will go down in history as the man who threw the last out for the first World Series championship in Rangers history.
And what was that last out? I know it was a strikeout looking. Yeah, it was Ketel Marte striking out looking. So the NLCS MVP goes down, and that'll do it for the World Series. Disappointing end to a great campaign for Lovello and Arizona. They just couldn't break through when they needed to in this series. Respect to them, though.
That guy is one of my favorite managers in the league after seeing what he's done this postseason run. And also, I don't know if you saw his video after, man. He was torn up. He had tears in the eyes.
He
was
winner.
Apologizing, saying it's his fault that he failed. They didn't get them where they wanted. They were in the World Series. They won a game in the World Series tour. You lost 100 games 2 years ago.
Yeah, somewhere
did more than enough.
People didn't think they would be, and he got them there. He took a lot of accountability for that one. Hopefully he's not too hard on himself.
Nah,
Guy had
fine.
A really great year.
He just said he wanted to go away, bury his head away for a little bit, just step away and just take some time to digest it all, which is fair. I mean, it's a long year, man, and to lose it, in the last series of the year, somebody has to. That's the tough part.
Yeah, we will see the Arizona Diamondbacks back for the 2024 season, which should be a fun one. It kicks off in 146 days.
I'm telling you, man, if they stack up that rotation a little bit to have more than 3 starters, because I think Fought's going to be a nice piece, man. He looked great. We know Kelly and Gallen are good, so if you could add a couple guys,
lick your wounds, get healthy, go and rest up, because it's going to be another long haul next year, and there's no reason Arizona shouldn't have their name in the hat.
You won 84 games this year, so there's room for improvement in the win total in the regular season. You can, who's to say they can't win the division next year?
They definitely could.
It's a different year, man.
Don't get me wrong, it's always going to be a daunting task to have to get past those Dodgers, and they haven't been able to do it ever. Since like the beginning of their franchise.
It's the Dodgers division until they lose it, much like the Braves in the East. It's how it is. I think of it like that in everything. If these teams are winning the division year after year, it's theirs until they lose it.
Yeah.
But that's the D-backs will make some noise in the near future for division play.
I will see them next year, and I for one cannot wait to see them again. Texas wins their first World Series title, like we said in the beginning, in their 63rd year as a franchise. Could not be more deserved, man. They go 2-0 over Tampa Bay on the road. That's a 99-win team. 3-0 over Baltimore in the DS, taking the first 2 in Camden Yards as well in that series.
That's a 101-win team.
And then 4-3 over the division rival Houston Astros, and they won 2 on the road to finish off the series in that one. So, I mean, all you could say is impressive there. Their season was almost over, and they wouldn't let it happen. And in the World Series, they win 4-1 over Arizona, win 3 straight on the road to finish it off, and look great top to bottom. Congratulations to your Texas Rangers, the World Series champions.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see that they were the best road team in Major League Baseball postseason history. They go 11-0 on the road. And one note that I thought was really, really cool that I saw on Twitter was the teams that they beat in the order were the Rays R, the Orioles O, the Astros A, and the Diamondbacks D, road, R-O-A-D.
Super impressive. Yeah, I mean, you can't write it any better than that. They were the best road team in postseason history, and they beat teams with the abbreviation of road.
They do not lose a road game, and it proves to be why they are successful. I mean, if those games go, they couldn't win at home against the Astros, so if they had a home field advantage, dude, who's to say they don't lose? I mean, them going on the road for Game 6 and 7, they just look like a different team on the road. It was crazy.
Yeah, we had both predicted Texas winning in 6 games. My World Series MVP prediction was Nate Eovaldi, which did not come to pass, and your World Series MVP was Corey Seager, who ended up winning the award. Congratulations to Corey Seager and you on being right. Bonus points.
His second MVP of the World Series. He won his first with the Dodgers in 2020 in the shortened season. Only he and Reggie Jackson are the 2 position players to win multiple World Series MVPs, so definitely congratulations to Corey Seager for doing that, and like you said, congratulations to me for getting that right.
Yeah, history.
Way to make me look good, Corey.
History being made all around. Congratulations, Corey Seager. Congratulations, Bruce Bochy, and congratulations, Texas Rangers. You are the 2023 World Series champions.
Yeah, and I think Bruce becomes just the 6th manager to win 4+ titles, and he's the first to do it with multiple. Like, have 4 and them not all be with one franchise.
Hall of Fame easy. He'll be there in Cooperstown.
Oh, he was before this run.
Very
So
true.
this is just icing on top of the cake for Bochy. I mean, he's one of the greats.
Congratulations, Rangers.
Yep, you guys did it. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy that parade today, by the way. That should be going on right now.
Yeah, I'm sure Arlington is electric.
Have a hell of a day.
Thank you, as always, for watching and listening wherever you do. This has been episode 45 of the 9 Frames podcast, and this is Friday, November 3rd, 2023. I've been Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
As always, catch us on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our X is at 9 Frames Pod, and our Spotify is 9 Frames. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the World Series here as Texas Rangers win in 5 games over the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah, another franchise that does not have 0 world championships. We're down to 5 now. The Rays, the Brewers, the Padres, the Mariners, and the Rockies are the only teams that remain. So we'll see if they can be one of the teams to get off that list next year. But for now, congratulations to the Texas Rangers.
Yeah,
you are immortal.
And for now, as we look forward, obviously we already have news of the upcoming offseason, which we will continue to cover. We'll probably have some games coming up on the channel. We'll have our predictions now that it's award season. Monday's episode will be telling you guys who wins the Gold Gloves on Sunday. And we hope you stick with us through the offseason here. We hope to upgrade our production a little bit and really get into what should be a fun offseason and 2024 MLB season.
Yeah, just like you said, 146 days away, so hopefully that's quicker rather than not.
Enjoy your weekend, folks. I know it's a little sad, first weekend without baseball in a long, long time, but lock in on whatever else you enjoy. Rest up, because it's going to be a long offseason.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend, everyone.